is not me, believe it or not. For once, that is not me that you are hearing with that. Although I do use a laptop keyboard.
All right, Poplars, you got any guesses for what the first item will be other than Morphing Ball?
I like to say high jump boots in the ceiling. I do know that is one of your favorite items, and I'm wondering what you are hoping to see.
Well, yeah, definitely when I'm running, high jump boots is my favorite item to get outside of, the clearly required ones. But I don't know. I guess obviously statistically you got to go with the E-Tank, but I'm gonna guess bombs just so we can get some BT hype again.
That would be absolutely awesome, seeing that BT hype. What do you guys think in chat? I'm seeing some note tanks so far. Seeing a charge beam. Seeing some spring balls.
Okay, Morphing Ball, first position. Always a lot more comfortable here than in the ceiling, because if the ceiling ends up having something that you don't necessarily have to have, you can skip it if you miss it. Also, sometimes you'll see runners forget that they don't have Morphing Ball and try to go under the block at the bottom. So it's always nice to have that first.
I do believe we actually saw foosda do that in the last match.
Oh, just an E-Tank.
So far we're looking pretty vanilla. We'll see what this miner is. And confirmed randomized.
Yeah, pretty standard opening here. Nothing really to discuss. Typically the most normal situation is you're going to start off with an E-Tank and, one power bomb pack and either missiles or supers. So not much to report here. I guess we'll just kind of wait and see if either runner decides to grab the extra miner pack before heading up the elevator. And if both of them grab what's at Mother Brain.
And foosda did have a little bit of issues grabbing that E-Tank in the ceiling, but he does pick it up yet without having to reset the room, so good job to foosda.
Looks like Gala will be heading over to grab that extra miner pack.
Just more missiles.
More of those reds. foosda skipping it, so heading up and taking a slight lead here, although he does have 5 less missiles. Obviously, the fact that that pack was not a super or power bomb pack actually kind of helps foosda out a lot here.
And Old Mother Brain will net them their first pack of super missiles. So if we do find bombs at at Bomb Trezo now, we will get to see a 2 super missile fight. Both runners with a very beautiful right side climb.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really love about watching some of these matches with the guys who are really highly ranked in all of the different actual speed runs of Super Metroid, is you just get some really excellent room strats and movement. So Galamoz is, I think, maybe ranked 20th in any percent. foosda's somewhere around 13th. I know foosda's top 10 in every other category, and Gala has great times, not only in Super Metroid, but a lot of hacks and ROMs and whatnot. So going to be a lot of elite play here.
And both runners finding the Plasmar beam.
Plasmar.
Shoutouts to Kip.
Plasmar.
Galamoz just getting that power bomb to open up the way for him.
Ooh, wave.
Get those Vohayos or wave emotes out.
So, of course, now the question becomes, and I highly doubt this will happen with either of these runners, but will either one accidentally forget that they have wave beam when it comes to the wave gate, which we've seen many, many times. A lot of people do. I know I've done it. I probably do it like half the time when I get wave early.
Just some missiles at the miner there, and we will find just an E-tank.
I believe in the last match, unless I'm misremembering, I think foosda elected to get the mock ball out of this room and skip the minor item like in the ceiling. So it'll be curious to see if he does that again.
We do see a lot of runners tend to skip some miners early on, which, not knowing when you're going to get charged or if you're going to find it can be detrimental, but there is also the point where picking them up can be detrimental as well, because if you find charge really early, then all that fanfare is time added.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of discussion, amongst, runners like outside of the tournament, but then also you'll hear commentary talk about which miners to pick up or why to get certain ones. But the main thing to remember is, a lot of people just think, oh, well, it's 7 seconds for the fanfare. That's true. And if you skip it, that's 7 seconds that you save. But the flip side is you're also less adaptable to certain situations in the future. So we'll kind of see if any of that plays out. You want to have at least a certain amount for Lower Norfair. The more you have, the less you have to farm, and the faster some of the fights can be. So Space Jump found pretty early. That'll be a good item for them to use to move a lot faster through some of the rooms.
And we're seeing galamoz continuing to pick up those miners where foosda just noped out of that miner room.
All right, looks like foosda's going to skip the miner at the top of Big Pink there, and I doubt that he'll forget that he has wave. Yeah, so he's good to go.
Unfortunately, missing the first quick mock ball up there, but recovers very nicely.
Very healthy seed we got going on so far.
Indeed, one more E-tank and they will shouldn't have too many issues with health runs. Emphasis on shouldn't have to.
Galamoz skipping the same minor item at the top of Big Pink there. And also remembered his wave beam, so good job to both runners.
Just another E-tank at the charge location. foosda having a really beautiful green hills zone.
Galamoz also electing to skip the minor missile that we just found right here next to the charge location. So he's got 20, which is a really solid number. One thing to kind of remember, it probably will not come up in the tournament in terms of costing anybody a match, but I have seen, players collect a really small amount of regular missiles and then kind of forget near the end that they need a certain amount for Mother Brain in terms of projectiles and not just damage. So it's good to at least have 10, and I honestly don't blame Galamoz for collecting upwards of 20 as well. It just kind of makes things more comfortable, especially when you get to fan tune and whatnot.
And just that E-Tank at X-Ray. Thankfully, both players having space jump to make very easy work of that room.
Nice D-boost there by foosda. So it looks like we're on the path here to Kraid. We'll have 3 more items that are collected before they have to make a decision about what direction they want to go after that. So let's see what we get here at Spazer.
Just another E-Tank.
Another E-Tank, yeah. Again, the really interesting thing when talking about, like, a lot of times we'll talk about tactics, like why to skip certain items and whatnot, but the simple reality is that the tactics that we discuss are not a universal for all players, because it all comes down to, like, you know, your comfort level and where you think your skill is in managing certain situations. So I'm kind of curious if that skip of that E-Tank means that foosda is going to simply elect not to go to Norfair early unless he finds Very in the next 2 items. Sometimes people will continue to collect E-Tanks if they know they're going to hell run, just because it'll save some time later, but we'll see what he chooses to do.
And galamoz picking it up. Meanwhile, foosda heading into Kraid. We'll see that mating ritual go down. Will Kraid accept and stand up, or will he say no and sit back down? The dance begins.
And he gets the quick kill. Looks like I would say galamoz is maybe about 30-40 seconds behind. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Poppers?
I was just going to say that foosda is going to be rewarded with that nope tank, and he will pick it up.
Unfortunate there. I doubt that he did that on purpose, but maybe he did. It just would be a little bit of an interesting choice to grab that while you didn't grab the other E-Tanks.
I was thinking the same thing. And we'll see if galamoz decides to take Kraid to prom today. Has the dress ready. Kraid's got his makeup on. He accidentally did it on purpose there, Sephi.
Oh, Spazer. Spazer getting skipped very quickly there. Certainly can't blame foosda for that. So Kraid pretty much trolled the runners, a reserve tank and Spazer after they already had plasma. Feels bad, man.
And galamoz nopes out of the nope tank. Gets a very nice hero shot along with the D-boost.
Well, foosda elected to go down to Norfair regardless of not picking up those E-Tanks, so looks like, he forgot to mock ball right there. That's going to cost him about 20 seconds, I would say.
So I do know we tend to... That power bomb. Both of them had the power bomb laid out, and it exploded at the same time, and it debated me a little bit. But the nope tanks, we tend to laugh about them. You know, runners tend to nope out of them, but they are very useful, provided you can get them filled up in a reasonable amount of time, because they do give you extra effective health.
They do. They're certainly not useless. Oh, gravity. Frog suit time.
Very nice.
But one thing to remember about reserves is there's actually kind of 2 things that make them problematic. Even if you just like select to pick up one or whatever, or I guess elect to pick up one. Number 1, if you have it and it's not full, then you can't manipulate your drops nearly as well, because if you're even if you're full on regular E-Tanks, if your reserve isn't full, then creatures will continue to drop health as opposed to ammo. So it's harder to manipulate that. Number 2, sometimes the amount of health that your reserve gives you is actually kind of less than what you think. You'll notice a lot of times people, if it's set on auto, they will run into an enemy, get hit, and go down below 0. The auto feature will come on and they'll start refilling, and then their iframes will run out and they'll immediately get hit again. So sometimes you don't actually get the full 100 even if it's filled up.
Galamoz is a very nice reverse smock ball there out of Ice Palace. was rewarded with bombs up there, so soft locks mostly prevented.
Oh, interesting tactical decision there by foosda. That might be the first time I've seen somebody save right there and then reset at ice. I'm sure other people have done it. I've just never noticed it before. Okay, Poplars, quick question for you. Do you think foosda, especially given the fact that he has space jump and can very easily move through the water vertically, do you think that he will check Mama Turtle and then immediately head to wreck ship, or what do you think his pathing is going to be here?
I think it would be good to go up to Mama Turtle, because it is a very quick check, like you said, with the gravity suit, and if it's nothing that he needs, like, say, vary at the current moment, there's necessarily no harm going up to wreck ship outside of not having speed yet.
So galamoz picked up all of the E-tanks leading into the Hell Run, so he's going to have a little bit more leeway, and also will be able to farm up, to a higher value before doing some of the Hell Runs in case he doesn't find an E-tank in some spots. So it'll be curious to see how long this takes him, but generally speaking, if he can find Varia in any spot in Norfair, that's probably going to put him in a pretty good position. When people go wreck ship early, it's kind of a gamble, because if you don't find Varia in wreck ship and it ends up being a Norfair, then pretty much anybody who went ahead of you the other way is going to be way far ahead in terms of your tracking.
And foosda deciding to stay in Meridia, having only found the E-tank. Again, not having speed, like Kip just said, it is a very big gamble.
Yeah, this is interesting. I guess he's going to check Sandpit, and then from there decide to go somewhere else, but he can't make it to Botwin without ice or speed booster.
I actually really like this call because it lets him check this item, and it's going to be another quick check having gravity. And since he doesn't have ice or speed booster yet, he can just go right out or reset. Which I think that reset gets him back to Norfair, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we will probably see him start his Hell Runs now.
galamoz getting a sick mock ball right there. I've never seen anybody do a mock ball out of that room. That's pretty nice. I think from now on, I don't know if somebody else has done that, but I'm going to call that the galamock.
The galamock.
And foosda now back. I guess his reset was all the way back to Norfair, so it looks like he's going to do Hell Runs. He elected not to pick up those earlier E-tanks, so even though Space Jump will make this a lot easier, it's definitely going to be tighter, and not only in the initial Hell Run, but it's also going to be tighter in terms of the farming.
And I happened to not see what was its speed when galamoz got there.
Pretty sure it was just an E-tank.
Just an E-tank.
Spring Ball.
And I do believe we saw Spring Ball there last run as well. galamoz deciding to validate.
Let's put it this way. Any kind of commentary that we can provide, I will basically never question, especially these two runners, because they're like significantly better than me. But just as a kind of topic of conversation, I'm a little sort of surprised. Like, I would not have expected foosda to check Mama Turtle and Sandpit and then not continue up, especially with his E-tank situation. But I guess he probably planned that out with his initial save down there. So this could end up being a pretty interesting choice. I just, the typical play would be to check Mama Turtle and then go to wreck ship. So I'm kind of curious as to what his reasoning for resetting back to this would be.
If I had to guess on that one, honestly, it would be because neither of them have speed yet, and he might not want to take that gamble. Although, that said, we have seen speed be at wreck ship quite a lot lately, so...
Yeah, that's true. You know, sometimes runners will avoid wreck ship if they don't have speed because they're, potentially worried that a good item could be at the reserve location, and then they'd be locked out of it. Now, that really doesn't happen that often, but occasionally you will find speed at wreck ship, which will open that up in case you need it. But Gala, I think, collected 3 E-Tanks, so my assumption would be that he's going to go down and clear out Croc and Grapple. And then if he finds Varia, he will immediately go to Lower Norfair. If not, I would assume that he will probably do Wreck Ship.
And galamoz having 35 supers at this point. He is well set on ammo. And he is indeed heading down to Crocomire, so get those Croc Z's and Cheaty Myers out, y'all. So, Kip, how do you feel about the Crocomire checks typically? I do know that they can be a big time sink, but if you've checked everywhere else...
Well, okay, so everything obviously is in the context of understanding sort of the totality of how these randomizers work. A lot of times I don't elect to check Crocomire, early. Like, a lot of times I'll try to do Bubble Mountain beforehand, because if you find what you need to progress in Bubble Mountain, then you really have no reason to ever come down here. However, if I'm hell running, I don't have Varia, I finished Bubble Mountain, I will go ahead typically and check Crocomire and Grapple, because they're already right next to you. You're right there, and especially if Varia ends up being down here, or some other major item like Ice or Speed where you can progress in other places, then it's going to be in your best interest to already have them. Sometimes, though, I'll go Croc early before Bubble Mountain if I believe that I'm racing against somebody who's a lot faster than me, just because I figure most people won't go there early. So it just kind of depends. There's no 100% correct play. It all depends on who you're playing against and kind of where you think you are versus them.
And galamoz picked up that last E-Tank, making his way over to Grapple. Foosda also heading down to Crocomire, so feel free to get those Crocs back out, chat.
Yeah, Gala's clearly, in the lead right now, but Foosda had a really, really nice Bubble Mountain collection, especially given the fact that he only had 4 E-Tanks. So it kind of goes back to one of those things. I wouldn't have probably been very comfortable only doing everything with 4 E-Tanks, but he knows his skill set very well, and he's one of our top players, so I'm not surprised to see him do well.
And just another tank down at Grapple. We do still have Gauntlet open to our players as well. And Wreck Ship is, unless they want a Crystal Flash Cliff, which I highly doubt, we will be seeing them head up towards Wreck Ship.
Yeah, basically, I believe the only player or runner that we've had in this tournament pull off a successful Crystal Flash clip to Botwoon has been Sephi. So, and it's not, a typical situation. Plus, right now, they literally can't do it because they don't have enough power bombs. So my assumption would be here that, he's going to make his way up. Possibly, he might check Gauntlet first. It's a really interesting situation. Backtracking to Gauntlet is not something you necessarily want to do in every case, but let's imagine worst case scenario. Let's imagine Varia is behind Wreck Ship Reserve and Speed Booster is at Gauntlet. Well, if you went and cleared out Wreck Ship first and realized you had to get to it, that would be problematic. So sometimes you'll see runners go ahead and clear Gauntlet just in case for a worst case scenario.
And galamoz's deciding to go up and check on Mama Turtle.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Gala skipped that super pack earlier. I'm sure that it's not 100%, but like typically, like my philosophy, but I try to just be a little bit more adaptable, especially if I don't find charge. But my philosophy is kind of always that super missiles kind of pay for themselves. Like, unless you end up finding full old route beam, which I guess that is maybe a reason to skip it right now if they end up finding charge. But especially if you don't have plasma, but you have charge later on down the line, those supers can still save a ton of time on Mother Brain too. So kind of surprised when runners purposely skip super missiles.
And Galamoz continuing to go up as well. We'll see if he decides to do a sand check as well, or just go straight up to wreck ship.
Looks like he's checking sandpit too. I'm again, you know, I guess these guys would understand what they're trying to do better than me. I'm just kind of surprised. It feels a little out of the way for one item. I think the typical play would be to check Mama Turtle, and if nothing's there, you just continue straight up to wreck ship, you know, in the next room. So
Galamod's deciding against the save there. Used the missile to get in, and then noped right out of there. I'd actually really like to see them check on Gauntlet on their way to wreck ship, just simply because they don't have speed booster yet, and it could very well be there.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised now that Gala, he's saved and he's not electing to reset. I mean, I guess if going this way would be faster to get back up, I guess not saving at all would have been the play. So I don't know. I think he's gonna have to green gate glitch to get out of here.
I don't believe he did take the save on that. He did jump into the save station, but I don't think he actually took it.
Oh, interesting. Well, I guess even walking into the room was a bit of a waste of time there, but maybe he just decided better of it. What would be really interesting here is sometimes the most crazy seeds are the ones where you have a stacked Meridia. Like you end up collecting tons and tons of E-tanks and reserves and a few, you know, major items, but none of the required ones in like Norfair. And then you go to wreck ship and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Surely the good items will be up here. And then they're not. And then you got to go start checking all these crazy places that you don't normally check.
Foosda heading straight over to the ship. We will see no gauntlet check for him. And same with Galamoz.
Wow, look how close this is. The only difference between the runners at the moment is Gala has 5 extra missiles, 5 extra supers, 5 extra power bombs, and looks like bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, they're within 3-4 seconds of each other.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I certainly hope you've already followed these runners, because this is not necessarily the time to do that. You don't want to miss the action. Both runners entering Fantoon at almost identical sync times.
Well, Fanny giving Foosda a fast opening pattern and Galamoz a slow. It's going to be interesting to see, like, if this race somehow came down to just a few seconds, it'd be kind of nuts if it was decided by Fantoon RNG.
These Dopplers from Foosda always impress me when I see them. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's got really nice Doppler skills for sure. All right, neither runner having any issue with Fantoon. And now we will start to collect the items of Rex ship here. The Fantoon patterns definitely helped foosda a little bit there.
So hopefully for these runners, they find speed here before getting to the reserve item or at the gravity location. Because if it's not here and we end up having Varia at the reserve location, then they're gonna have to go and search for speed, which is gonna put it at either Gauntlet or somewhere in Meridia.
Yeah, it would be pretty nuts if, for example, they got up here and saw that Varia was at, reserve, and then like maybe Ice Beam was at gravity, and so they had to then go and like all over Meridia looking for a speed booster.
Ice Clip to Shack Tool.
All right, surely a good item's going to be right here. Okay, there we go.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe my curse is broken.
The only kind of bad thing, I mean, obviously, the runners want to find speed and it's a great item. But when you don't have high jump boots to go with it, it's definitely an awkward experience in certain spots. It won't be quite as bad with space jump, but still, it can still affect kind of, how you're used to moving. So most people, unless I'm just way wrong on this, but I don't think most people spend a ton of time like, I'm going to practice only with space jump and speed booster and learn all the strats that way. I think a lot of times people just kind of get used to stuff on the fly. So hopefully it won't affect them too bad.
And foosda had some really amazing D-boosts out of the, I don't know what the room is specifically called, but it's the one before the E-Tank location. And just after Spiky Death Room. And what will we find at the reserve location? We find the high jump boots. We'll see if...
Sorry about that. High jump boots is great, but Gala just crushed that attic. That was beautiful.
We'll see if they decide to go up there for the high jump boots. It is a very useful item. I will never say it's not, but we will see if they decide to go pick it up.
I think both runners most certainly will. The amount of time spent going to get it will be way more than made up. I would be completely shocked if one of the runners elected not to get it. And then past that, unless they got super lucky, I would basically say that would even be almost GG. The amount of time that you would be able to save running another 30 minutes with high jump boots where your opponent doesn't have it is just like way too much.
Really nice powerbomb placement there from foosda.
Whoa, foosda.
That was really nice. I was wondering what he was doing, and then it dawned on me, and man, that is genius.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way either one of these runners would ever skip high jump boots in this position. And it's not just that it's high jump boots, and it's not just like in this particular spot at Rex Ship Reserve. It's just the fact that there's so much more of the game left. Like, they haven't defeated Ridley. They haven't done anything in Meridia other than check the first two kind of items or whatever. So the amount of time left to run versus how much you will save with high jump boots is incredible. It'd be different if they found high jump boots as like one of the very last items after they'd already done everything, but it's just too strong.
And grapple is the reward for the gravity location. This is going to allow for some fried shrimp.
So skipping Gauntlet here, foosda skipped it, and I guess he'll only check it at the very, very end if he feels like he needs to. But I think it's the right play. There's no other item that they have to have with 100% certainty other than Varia, and Varia can't be at that spot. So I think it'd be better to go and just kind of hope that you find the items you need along the way than to go check that and save 45 seconds or whatever it is.
And foosda heading over towards the waterway, gonna go ahead and give that a check. Can he get the reverse slinky? Oh, is he gonna get it? He will stop short on that. Y'all, I got so hyped for a moment. Galamoz deciding to go ahead and skip the waterway check. Hopefully for him it's not going to be something like ice.
And once again, we get to see the very rare in these rando situations intended way to get through this room with Speed Booster. You just get to run straight through there. Oh.
It's just a nope tank. I do
Gala,
believe that's the third nope tank?
Either the third or the fourth, but Gala just got paid off huge by not checking waterway. Like, that just saved an immense amount of time. So what I think we're going to see Gala do here is just kind of basically straight run through the game normal right now through Dragon. He's going to obviously get to check Botwoon's item. He will check Dragon's item regardless, I think, of what's at Botwoon. And then from there, he'll make a decision about what other majors to check, and then also if he needs to start collecting any more minors. You don't want to kill all 4 of the bosses and then start thinking about, oh, I got to have minors because I don't have charge. Usually somewhere along the way you start making that decision.
Unfortunately, those hitboxes on Botwoon being very mean to Galamoz, but he gets a nice 2-round nonetheless. Screw attack. That's gonna be
surprised.
And he's gonna nope right out of that. That would have helped out in Lower Norfair when they make their way there.
Yeah, in fairness, like, you definitely don't have to have screw attack. 2 things that are sort of like in his favor for skipping it are, number 1, he has a ton of health. It'd be one thing if you were going into Lower Norfair without screw attack and you only had 4 or 5 E-tanks or something. It could be more difficult, but also he has plasma. Plasma allows you to clip through a lot of the creatures down there, so it's not nearly as dangerous. But for 7 seconds, I'm a little surprised. I'm sure I would have picked it up, but then again, I mean, Gala probably just doesn't feel like he needs it.
foosda starting his Botwoon fight and having a much nicer time with those hitboxes. Just missing the 1 round on Botwoon. And we are seeing the speed booster kill on Dragon here from Galamoz. Now, is this actually faster than doing the grapple kill?
To be honest with you, I don't know with 100% certainty, especially if both were optimized, which one would be faster. I don't even know how to do the quick grapple kill because it's never been a part of, anything that I was forced to learn for any other category. Oh, there's Ice Beam.
Ice.
So it could just be that Gala hasn't, practiced that a ton and just felt more comfortable doing it the normal way.
We'll see which way foosda decides to do here. He does have both options available to him.
Okay, so my guess is Galamoz is going to take the old route here, and he's going to get down here and immediately head to Plasma. And if he doesn't find what he needs at Plasma, he will just simply go up to the tube, head down, and then go to Shack Tool. It shouldn't take much time at all, especially with high jump boots and space jump. Yeah, here he goes. Once again, though, Screw Attack would have helped in this scenario too, because the more rooms you have to move through with space jump, the more valuable Screw Attack becomes. Plus, you could have used it on the pirates in the Spazer room, or excuse me, the Spazer room, Plasma room. But he already has Plasma, so it's not that big of a deal. He won't have any trouble killing them.
Meanwhile, foosda orphaning those baby dragons, and is gonna go find his ice beam.
And now moving through my least favorite room in the entire game.
Pancake Tower.
Yeah, vertical pancakes. I know it has a different name, but I call it that because that's just what I've always thought it was. I didn't learn all the names when I was learning the game, so I just have all these random names for the rooms. All right, what do we got? Boom.
Wow, nice, very nice find.
And at this point, that's essentially go mode for Gala outside of the fact that he either needs charge or miners. So what I think we're going to see him do is just simply head straight down to Lower Norfair, collect any kind of miners he sees along the way. If he finds charge down there, then he's good to go. Otherwise, he'll continue to collect anything he hasn't collected before. But that's pretty much it. He's got all the items that he needs in terms of movement. Great toilet bowl there.
foosda also making his way up to his various suit. Having really amazing movement there in the room before the Pancake Tower.
Galamoz went with the pacifist strat since he didn't have charge beam against all those baby shrimp. And I just noticed I wasn't paying attention, but I guess foosda elected to skip Screw Attack as well.
Heading through Frog Speedway down to Lower Norfair. Doing some farming along the way.
This is a smart decision. I think, though, that I could be wrong about this. I'm sure other people could correct me, but I probably would have waited and farmed in the room.
Just before.
Yeah, like the vertical room that you go through before you go across to get down to Lower Norfair. But either way, it doesn't matter. Good decision to go ahead and fill up on especially the supers. It's not really the health so much. People go through Lower Norfair and old route and new route all the time with less equipment and less health in this, but it's mostly just to prepare to not have to farm, one bug at a time to get the supers.
He gets the nice chronic boost down into the lava.
Yeah, we don't get to see that too often in these randomizers. Another way Screw Attack could have helped is if they accidentally miss fast pillars, but these guys are so good, I doubt they'll miss.
Deciding to skip the GT location, deciding to not see if it's charged. Sorry, lost my train of thought. And it looks like he's going over there anyway.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised by this. This is going to give foosda an opportunity to catch up. Now, if this is charge, let's put it this way. Okay, if this is charge,
It's
probably
huge.
GG. Yeah, probably GG unless something bad happens. But if it's not charge, that just allowed foosda to get back into this.
Oh, man, and it is charged. That pays
Wow.
off huge.
And I'm not doubting foosda's ability to come back, but I'm just saying as in general, like, especially if foosda elects not to check, then he's going to have to spend a ton of time collecting miners to be able to finish. So that's... And then if he does elect to check, then obviously he's got to go through the time of going over. So this is going to take a little while.
And he does elect to check on it, so this will be super beneficial to foosda.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's, again, you never know what's going to happen, but I'd be really, really shocked if...
That hurts.
Yeah, if this doesn't end up in Gala's favor at this point.
Even if he had made the save to continue trying that, that still would have been extremely painful, even if he'd gotten it first try at that point.
Yeah, and... Okay, this is actually kind of what I was talking about earlier in the game, which was, like, it's hard for me to try to explain this in a way where I think people are going to grasp the concept, but it's like, yes, skipping minor items will save you time, okay? And yes, in a traditional speed run, you're constantly trying to get the minimum amount of items that you need. But this randomizer, number one, is not a traditional speed run, and number two, you're not playing against just yourself, you're playing against an opponent. So the fact that you skip minors sometimes, it doesn't, you can save 7, 14, 21 seconds in the earlier parts of the game, but then other parts of the game later, you might run out of items that you need, or you might want to save more time by having more. And like if foosda had picked up 1 or 2 more, super packs along the way, there would be more attempts at that green gate glitch right there.
And galamoz had an absolutely amazing Metal Pirates rune. Grabbing them both at the same time and hitting them with the charge beam, both forward and back. While galamoz on the Ridley fight. It will be with the beam combo. He has 20 shots to take down Ridley, and he just finishes him up.
And now, yeah, no reason to check any more items.
Yeah, exactly where I was going with that. Oh, and he gets the nice damage boost out of there. foosda gonna have to do a lot of farming for this Ridley fight.
Yeah, since he doesn't have charge, he can literally soft lock in here, unlike Gala. Gala could not have soft locked because he had charge. He's gonna have to farm, and this is another one of those scenarios where how long does it take to farm versus how long would it have taken to get some of the minor fanfares.
Not to mention, he does also have that reserve tank yet, so if it's not full, he will be getting some health drops from that as well, which is what you talked about earlier.
Right. Like, in particular, okay, since we're just kind of talking theory right now while these guys clean everything up, in particular, I would be super careful about how many miners I picked up before Ridley if I didn't have charge, if I did not have grapple beam. because trying to farm without grapple beam in that room, I mean, obviously you can do it. It's just really, really slow. So there's a lot of different factors for why to pick up, different items along the way. A lot of times runners are thinking about their future situation as opposed to their current situation. This is a sick Ridley fight right now.
Getting all those nice pogos.
Wow, that was really, really nice. So one thing that we will, I would say like 99.99% not see here is Gala will not stop at the ship. Usually in these rando tournaments, you'll see people stop at the ship to refill in their supers, like if they don't have charge beam. But here he's got plenty of items and his health is completely irrelevant. He'll collect a lot of health before the end of Torian.
And once again, giving no love to Fishy Loft there. Neither runner having kissed the fish on their way up. Poor thing, still needs love. You cannot convince me of that, Church. You cannot convince me that it's Pongfish, and neither can you, Ponk.
The heart wants what it wants, right?
Exactly.
Legality and contracts don't mean anything.
It will forever be the Seffy Fish or Fishy Loft. Yeah, but Punk, there's a whole Fishy Loft emote too.
This is the part of the movie where the fish comes out and says, "I never agreed to be anybody's other than Seffy." Where is my voice in this? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, so chat bringing up the evil point that I'm not going to repeat because last time I alluded to that, it actually happened.
Okay, yeah, so let's kind of get serious for just a second here, Poplars.
Yeah.
We've got, Gala is in massive commanding position.
Absolutely.
But he did not stop at the ship, which means, and he didn't need to, which means he didn't save.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're not going to see runners save before Mother Brain, especially if they have charge beam, simply because they feel very comfortable and they're like, okay, I'm in good shape. And they don't, he doesn't know how close foosda is, especially given all the running around they've had to do in the seed.
Yes.
So there still is a chance for foosda to win here, though. If Gala goes for stand-up and doesn't save and misses it or something,
Don't say it.
Look, I was talking about this, and you and I were talking about this, like even for weeks. Okay, I've been a proponent for weeks now that doing stand-up glitch in these races is usually a bad idea.
I agree.
Because yes, it saves time, but we have yet to have a race where stand-up glitch was the deciding factor. But we have seen scenarios where people lost where they were clearly ahead because of it. So he doesn't know that, but it could happen. So we'll see.
This is very true, and hopefully it does not. Especially since he does not have X-ray at this point. So if he goes for it, he's going to have to be extra careful.
Which, by the way, somebody mentioned this in chat earlier. Oh, Gala got... He's going to... All right, this is absurd. The thing that just happened to Galamoz is actually about to make him safer.
Oh, no.
Because he's going to save. He's going to save and reset. So now, it would basically be almost impossible for him to lose. Like,
wow.
he could fail at Mother Brain, too, like two times, and maybe even still win. Wow.
And not to mention, foosda still has to find a lot of miners, including, well, I guess not another Powerbomb pack at this point, because he does have ice, but...
Exactly. By the way, the baby Metroid just saved Galamoz's life once more. In a different way. But yeah, what I was going to say before Gala got eaten is, the fact that Galamoz is entering Mother Brain's room like right at the 56-minute mark for this seed is pretty absurd. Like, this is a really, really strong performance for this seed.
Having a little bit of trouble with the Zeb skip, though. And no longer is going to have the ability to perform stand-up at this point, so...
Yeah, for anybody wondering in chat, the reason that Galamoz reset, I'm sure somebody probably explained it, is when you try for baby skip and it still gets you as you move through the door, you end up with the slow physics on you that you have when the baby Metroid attaches itself to you. And so the only way to get rid of it is either to finish the game with it, which is actually pretty tough, or to save and reset. And that's what Gala did there.
And again, with the beam combo he has, if he elected not to use the supers, which he did, it is 20 shots onto Mother Brain. And at 16, she will start her catch-up phase.
Got the swag grapple, and it also looks like we will not be having a stand-up glitch here.
And for those of you that may be newer, Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam will do, as long as you have Various Suit on, 300 damage to you. So if you have anything less than 301 health, you will die to her at the Rainbow Beam phase. And we now see foosda going up into the gauntlet as well. Still hoping to find that charge beam.
Yeah, I think that Shack Tool and Screw Attack are literally the only two items that he didn't check, unless I'm mistaken. So I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a bummer when he finds out afterwards that it was a screw.
Yeah, technically he did not check screw. He did try, and there's an oak tank for his troubles. So
what a troll item this time to be there.
The last Nope tank is in captivity, ladies and gentlemen, and the galaxy is at peace. And get those baby thumps ready, because this makes me cry every time, y'all.
And foosda now is going to acquire exactly enough ammo to be able to defeat Mother Brain. The only issue is he's going to, if he doesn't collect anything else, and unless my math is wrong, he is going to be forced to, at minimum, open up the first red door and then the boss door, and then backtrack to refill before he can defeat Mother Brain Part 1. Or excuse me, Mother Brain 1 and 2 with the amount of items that he has, or ammo.
Meanwhile, Emergency and Franker Z or Goo, so get those cats and dogs out, ladies and gentlemen, because Galamoz is on the escape.
Yeah, big props to Galamoz here. I said it at the beginning of the race, probably, I don't know if everybody heard me because my mic was down, but, you know, Galamoz and foosda both are not only in terms of Randomizer, but just Super Metroid in general, are two of the single best players in the world. So congratulations to Gala for moving on to the final winners bracket match of two undefeated players. He will be battling Ponk next. And then foosda is definitely not out of it just yet. He'll have to lose another match before he's out of the tournament. So it wouldn't shock me at all to see foosda continue to win games and even potentially win the whole tournament. So GG for Gala and GG for foosda as well.
Yes, Gala has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 1 hour and 32 seconds. Meanwhile, foosda has forfeited from the race. So GG to both runners. You both ran a very amazing race.
Absolutely.
GG to chat. GG to Feasel, and GG to Siberian our tracker, and GG to my co-commentator Southern Kip.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Poplars. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Kip. So, ladies and gentlemen, still time to follow those runners.
Yeah, follow foosda and Gala. Both great runners, really cool dudes. Obviously, you know, at the end of these broadcasts, we always give a big thank you to not only everyone associated with the Randomizer Tournament in terms of the admin, but also Feasel and the crew at all of the speed gaming channels for putting on this excellent content for everybody. And just thank you, chat, everybody in chat, for not only being here today, but also throughout the entire tournament. It's been a lot of fun for a lot of different people. And it's always a lot of fun to, you know, get to see some of our best players compete against one another.
Most definitely. And not only should you give those runners a follow, but you should give Southern Kip and Siberian a follow as well. And do not forget, it's still Subtober for another couple days, so feel free to get those subs in for your favorite runners.
Yeah, and also Poplars as well. Let me get this straight, Poplars. I'm trying to remember. You were running any percent yesterday and had a PB that was like 1 minute and 20 something seconds, right?
Yes.
Nice. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Moving right along. I'm sure that you still want to lower it though.
Oh, most definitely. The quest for sub 54 is the current quest.
Yeah, the desire to improve is never ending, right?
Oh my God, you're right. It never ends. So we went from a 55.07 and I went down to a 54. I'm sorry, it was a 55, I think 12 down to a 54.07. So
very nice. And as we saw, foosda looks like he's gonna at least maybe finish this run here. He elected to go ahead and open up the third door as well and then backtrack to refill. So that gave him actually 4 regular missiles of leeway. He can miss 1 super here and still finish. He can actually miss 1 super and 1 regular missile and still finish. But he would have had to have been perfect otherwise. So looks like he's now in the catch-up phase. And he didn't miss a single super. So congratulations to him for getting to the point where he can finish this run.
Always good to see runners finish out the runs, finish strong.
Also, I want to give a big shout out to foosda for, I don't know if everybody got to see this, but he represented the Super Metroid community at the speedrunning event, or I guess gaming event overall, called Smash the Record. I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago, 3, maybe 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was there and he ran Old Route and did a really fantastic job with that. So that was awesome. And Gala, I think we need to remind everybody that Gala has a movement tutorial that he put together for everybody. It's like 5 hours long. It will teach you a whole lot about the game that you might not know. So if you ever want to see that, just head over to his channel.
Also, big shout outs to Spirit ZT, who just subscribed to Speed Gaming with Twitch Prime. Sub hype.
Yeah, subbing to Speed Gaming 1, 2, or 3 is always a good decision. I personally have a subscription to Speed Gaming 1 and Speed Gaming 2. And those Excite Bike flags never get old.
I've been wondering what kinds of flags those were.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know if that's where they pulled it from, like in terms of inspiration, but for me, like that's what I think of every time I see it. The little Excite Bike theme rolls through my brain. Dun 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I sure do.
So I love it whenever people finish and I get to post those.
And we are about to have another emergency in Franker Z or Magoo, whichever is your favorite, as foosda begins his escape. Here in like 2 more seconds. Oh, Siberian with the emergency and Zreknar.
Nice. Oh, almost.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if I am not mistaken, this is our last match for the day. Our next upcoming matches are looking to be October 18th, starting at 6 p.m., going until 9 p.m. Games 1, 2, and 3 are scheduled for a CFB versus Sefilov. That is a alternative winners round 7. So make sure you are there, because that will be an extremely amazing race.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff coming up. I think that's the round of 12, and I think we still have Wild Anaconda and White Mage Becky that have not played their round of 16 match yet. And we've had to reschedule that, unfortunately, due to some, bad situations in California and whatnot. So hopefully at some point in the near future, we'll get to schedule that. Both runners will be able to play. But we also have a bunch of other good races that'll be upcoming. I think Total is going to be playing against Elminster pretty soon. And I can't remember what other matchups. I think Zost is going to be playing somebody in the near future as well.
Pardon me. And I haven't seen the script yet, everybody, but we could still possibly have a Sefi versus Becky rematch. So
that's true.
That is a possibility, and that would be super, super hype. But again, I haven't seen the script, so I don't know what's planned. It's not scripted, I promise it's not. Also, don't forget to give Feasel a follow as well, y'all. He does a really amazing job with a lot of tournaments and is a giant part of the speed gaming community in general. He does more than just stuff for Super Metroid, so make sure you give him a follow. Don't forget to put those tacos at your basement door, at the top of your basement door on October 15th. That's today, actually. So get those tacos out there because you might be able to catch Feasel coming out for those tacos.
Tacos are pretty tasty.
It looks like foosda is just going to go ahead and die with the animals as he taunts them.
Well, it looks like foosda is going to go down with the planet here. But once again, folks, do not worry. You have not seen the end of foosda's run in the tournament. This is his first loss. So he will simply be awaiting another opponent further down the loser's bracket. I never really thought about this, Poplars, but look at the game over screen. It says, find the Metroid larva, try again. But technically, you've already found it, right? At this point, if you die with
you have.
They should have put in a special ending like, you weren't fast enough.
I agree. It's definitely a loophole there that makes you wonder, is there another Metroid larva out there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the baby really the baby that we see?
Yeah, my
Who
favorite thing
knows?
about the ending is, you know how at the very, very end when Samus, comes out and you know, jumps and then puts her suit back on and then shoots the screen?
Yes.
She's purple, right? Because she's in
Yes.
her gravity suit.
Gravity
So
suit.
my favorite thing is when you run RBO and you don't get any of the suits and all you have is the yellow power suit the whole time. I really wish that they would have I mean, I know that seems silly, but it would have been cool to see them have like different endings depending on what suits you have. That would have been kind of cool.
That would have been really awesome, and that definitely would have that Deer Force knew, which they did. Deer Force knew.
Well, on that note, I guess that's probably going to wrap it up. Poplars, I'll let you have the last word. But once again, thank you for being on commentary with me today. It was a lot of fun. And chat, GG, you guys have an excellent Sunday, and we'll see you again later.
And also, thank you for joining me, Kip. I had an absolute blast commentating with you. Had an absolute blast commentating this match. Chat, it was fun as always. Once again, don't forget to follow those runners. Don't forget to follow those runners. Don't forget to follow Southern Kip. Don't forget to follow Saberion. And GG, and I will see you all next mission.